Test, just checking. We're gonna get started in about 2-3 more minutes. And I promise you, we are going to be handing out tomatoes for all of you for your use. So you know what? I will even clean it up. Yeah, we'll get started here in just a few minutes. Anybody here want to hear a science joke? Because there's not a lot of good science jokes. No? Humorless at this point. Roger that. Roger that. Okay. It was a good one though. I'm just going to tell you that. All right, I think we got enough people here. Awesome. Thank you everybody for coming. Everybody knows why we're here. We are here because of the sewage spill that occurred off of Robin Lane. If you're here for something else, stick around. This is going to be fun. I'm joined today with several members who've been working on this problem. We have Lori Baca with Lake County Special Districts. Her and her team have been working to get the cleanup started and completed. We're also joined by Dr. Robert Bernstein. He is the Lake County Public Health Officer, and Bruno Sabatier, District 2 Supervisor. And I am Craig Weatherby, Lake County Environmental Health. Today's process, I'm really bad at this, by the way, when it comes to mics. Sorry. If there's feedback, let me know. I don't know how to stop that. Okay. So what we're going to focus on today is we're going to talk about the things that we know. We do know the spill. We know the impact that has been impacted on your families, your homes. We know that this has not gone well. And no amount of apologies is going to fix that. Our goal is to move this forward. We want to get people back into their home properly and into a safe home and not just, walk away from it. So that's what we're going to focus on in today's meeting. We'll start with Lori. She's going to give a background of how this incident came about and what has been done up to this point in terms of fixing the spill itself. I will then talk about the aquifer and the water situation, because that's really where the danger is at the moment. And then Dr. Bernstein will also be talking a little bit about the hazards that you might face and some of the medical issues that could come about from sewage exposures. We will be answering questions from the public. If you do have questions, there are folks who will be going around. They will provide you a sheet that you can write your question down on. Just put it up in the air. Somebody will come around and collect it and get it up to the panel for us to answer those questions. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Lori Baca, Lake County Special Districts.
Thank you. All right. I'm just gonna start with the facts that I know and try to answer everything that I possibly can, so. So we were notified early Sunday morning, approximately around 7:30 a.m. That there was sewer running down the street. So our staff, our standby staff was notified. They showed up on the scene, and that's when they realized it was a 16-inch force main that runs down Robin. That was the starting point. Let's see. I know we did have some crew members on site right away. When I showed up, it was about 8:20, 8:30 a.m. And they had already began using the Vector truck to start alleviating some of that from coming down the road. At that point, we were about halfway down Robin lane. And I think we were I think one of the neighbors was already out, one of the residents was already out. And so we kind of spoke at that moment and we assessed the situation with the first few staff that were already there immediately. We started to lay out some wattles. Again, we had the Vector truck immediately on scene, and they began to trying to kind of alleviate it from going any farther down Robin. So once we started getting more of our staff on the scene, we did notice that the spill was kind of coming down and diverting towards, kind of through a property. And in order to alleviate it from spilling into the nearest drainage ditch, we utilized one of the residents out there, a property owner, and he helped dam it up to keep it from flowing as much as it was going into the creek, or at that point towards the creek, sorry. Let's see. So I know that there's a lot of residents here. I see some familiar faces. And I just want to, first, I want to follow up with what Craig said. This is not a situation that any of us want to be in. We hate these calls. We don't want to get these calls, especially to this severity. Myself, I've never been in this, this large of a situation. But I do want to make sure that you guys know that our staff, we had all staff on hand. We had staff from different service areas. We had everybody rotating, as much as possible, as much as we could work somebody, they were working. We even had our admin staff there on the ground. So as we were kind of hitting it in the front line when this first started, the rest of the crew showed up. We immediately called Vector trucks in to start working their way down down Robin, each side of Robin. So we immediately called in Vector trucks to work on each side of Robin to alleviate that spill from going any farther down the street at that time. While the rest of the crew went to find the source of where we can shut it off, the valve. So when they began working on that, the valve failed. It's a 16-inch valve, and my crew here that's with me can kind of give more detail as we go if needed, but that valve failed. And we had to utilize and call a company out of the area to come and assist us with doing a hot tap to put in a new valve. That company was already in the middle of a job at that time. They gave us an ETA of when they would be on the scene. And unfortunately, they were pretty far out. So at that point in time, we had to just keep utilizing the vac trucks as much as possible. We called in more. We had about 10 different pumper truck companies, all the way from local to Ukiah, Napa, Vallejo, I believe. We had far and wide, our office was calling and getting them in as much as possible. And I know you guys have all seen them, you've heard them, they've been in your ear the last 4 days. So I know that we're sick of hearing trucks. So as we're getting these Vector trucks in and we're waiting for the ETA of the company to come in to do the hot tap, we are also setting up our Vector trucks at our other lift station to also alleviate that spill, to make sure that that lift station was able to keep up with everything, and make sure that we didn't have an incident over there by Burns Valley. That's where that lift station was. So I'm sure a lot of you saw a lot of Vector trucks there. So we had the big tanker station there. Smaller trucks were able to come in and out of the area to kind of keep working the area to get up as much as possible. So while we were doing that, we also immediately were setting out wattles, getting wattles in at each driveway as much as possible, trying to kind of keep it from going into people's properties. And at first, I know that, that seems like a really good attempt, but as we all know, that the amount was just wattles, as many wattles as we could get was just not enough. And, we probably bought out Mendo Mill at every end of the lake. So, and obviously what we had in stock ourselves. Sandbags as well. We were continuously filling up sandbags, stationing them at places that were important near Pamela. So as we diverted that spill, there was some that was still spilling out into Pamela between your guys' properties. I mean, I'm sure you know. That was making its way across to the drainage ditch over on Pamela. So that was our priority, was staging there, setting up wattles, setting up sandbags as high as possible, and getting pumper trucks and Vector trucks that could fit in and out as much as possible to keep it from running into that drainage ditch. So moving forward, the time that we were expecting that team coming from out of town to put in that valve, that hot tap and that valve, they informed us they were not going to make it that night. So at that point, we had to pivot and we had to continue with our Vector trucks and continue working through the night, as you guys all saw us out there and heard, I'm sure. And we had to just continuously pump 24/7. That team did inform us that they were flying out the part and that they would be there first thing in the morning. So first thing, the next morning, they were on scene. Like they said, they were already dressed, ready to go, getting ready to install this 16-inch valve. It is a long process. Their ETA to install one of these valves was 8 hours. They got it done a lot quicker than the 8 hours because they knew the situation that we were in. So we did get that valve installed. In order to now turn that valve off to alleviate the spill, we had to turn another valve on down at lift station 1, which is by Safeway, Burns Valley. While the crew was working on that valve failed. So now here we go, having to divert the plan and continuously try to work as hard as we can to figure out what to do next. So luckily, we were able to get a contractor out there immediately with our crew, and they began working on the secondary valve, the 10-inch valve. So we got the 16-inch valve in place. Now we're working on the 10-inch valve in place. While we're doing that, we've got pumper trucks stationed there, still working on Pamela, still working on Robin, and continuously, trying to get as much as they can. I don't have the numbers of how many gallons pumper trucks were able to get just yet. Those numbers are going to be coming in the next few days as we get invoices. So we'll know more then. So they were able to get the valve, the 10-inch valve installed Monday evening. And at that point, we were able to turn that one on and then turn off the 16-inch valve. And the spill stopped at 9:55 p.m. Monday evening. So from that point on, we continued to run the pumper trucks 24/7 to get up as much as we could that was remaining on the ground. We were able to bring in showers. We have an 8-unit shower truck trailer that was brought in. We had potable water. We have a potable water truck stationed at our treatment plant. We had water brought in from our staff as well as some outside entities delivering water to be able to provide to the residents. I know the first day when I was on scene, I was delivering water to as many residents as I could. We did have other staff members going door to door delivering water, passing out a flyer, trying to make contact with people as we can. And, you know, kind of like letting people know we have potable water, we have showers. I know it's not the best scenario, but that's what we could come up with quickly, was to get that shower stall and potable water available to the area. The temporary shower trailer, I just want people to know that it's manned from the morning to the evening time from, I think our flyer said 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. The showers are sanitized before and after every use. And there are some toiletries, not ones that were donated to us, but the company that is manning the shower has some things available if needed. Let's see. So after we stopped the spill, our work was just basically to continue getting as much off the ground as possible, trying to be able to get people's driveways and backyards and, you know, anything that was affected, as much of that up as possible. We're still continuing that. So I know that it seems like, well, you know, they're done now or they're lessening. There's so much out there that we have to do it in bits, if that makes sense. You know, we have to get as much up as we can and then come back if it seems like it's puddling again. So if you see us leave and then you see us come back, that's why we're checking on each area. Let's see. We did start yesterday repairing the force main that was the issue of the problem. So that is actually repaired and everything is in working order. And our team is started with the decontamination or the agricultural lime. So that is one of the ways that we are going to start sanitizing the area, is putting that down. It's safe for livestock. It's safe for the natural flora and fauna that's in the area, and safe for the waterways. So we also have another way of disinfecting hard surface like driveways, hardscapes. So if you see guys in backpacks, we will be out there doing that as well. It's going to be a continuous thing for, I don't know how many days, but we're not done. So I don't want anybody to think that that's just it. Our guys will be out there cleaning up wattles in the next few days. We're still going to be out there with Vactor trucks. We're still going to be out there, decontaminating the area. So you will still be seeing us out there. I do want to mention that we have around the clock monitoring. We do have staff that will, even though it's not the full staff that we had the first few days, we do still have staff that's going to be working the night shift, checking the area to make sure everything is under control. If any issues pop up, then we will definitely call more staff out. Let's see. In the meantime, if you need water delivered to you, please call the office. They are directing that information to us directly, and then we are sending our staff out to deliver either water for your animals, water for your tanks. If you have a separate holding tank, we do have that ability now to do that, and water for yourselves. And I know that it doesn't seem like enough, and I completely understand that. But I want you to know that we are trying our best. The best may not be the best, but this is what we're working with as we go. And like Craig said, this is not something that we, at least I, in my time being here, have had to deal with on this level. So we do have Red Cross providing resources They also ran into an issue, their delivery truck, something happened with the delivery truck, so they weren't able to make it when we thought they were gonna be here. They should be on scene tomorrow with a representative to be able to pass out more resources, and that'll be in the afternoon. And that was updated to me recently. We continuously have our staff show up at 7, and they're just gonna be working around the clock to continue cleanup efforts. We have multiple water companies from around here, and our treatment plant operators that are also gonna be working with environmental health staff to take additional well sampling. So we're gonna try to get as many people out there and get as many well samples as possible. And Craig can, provide more information on that. I don't have numbers on how many gallons damage is done. It's still too early to know that exact number. And I do wish I had that to provide to you tonight, but I don't. But we will. And so that is something, as things come in and we're able to get more information and not just be in reactive mode, we will have more information regarding that. Let's see. I know one thing that was an issue was garbage service. So I don't know if that's something that we need to speak to tonight. If anybody has a question about that, let me know and we can figure that out as well. I think that was it. Now that everybody's fallen asleep.
All right. So I'm Craig Weatherby with Lake County Environmental Health. My role here in this incident is twofold. We are the agency that's been tasked with the water quality of your wells. So that is my biggest concern, and it is the largest safety hazard that exists at this time. And I will be speaking to what we're doing with the wells. We have an additional role in this incident. We are also the agency responsible for ensuring that the cleanup is completed and that it's completed to state EPA standards. So we will be monitoring and moving through in that process and capacity as well. The primary safety concern here is the contamination of the water wells. As you saw, there were multiple photos, aerial footage. There were several wells that were completely surrounded by sewage, all the way up into the casing. One of the problems with this area, not a problem, but this area is an older area of Clear Lake. Many of the wells that exist in this area were developed long before the modern standard of the modern well. Today's wells have sanitary seals that stretch anywhere from 20 to 50 feet. And that sanitary seal's purpose is to prevent anything from surface coming down the well on the outside of the casing and interacting with groundwater. Unfortunately, many of the wells in this area are older. They were installed in, as far back as the 30s and 40s. So those wells may or may not have those sanitary seals present. And if they do have them, they may not be in the best condition at this stage. The reason we opted to go with a do not use notice on the water is because we couldn't know right away whether or not this sewage was going to make it down those casings and down into the water. And because we didn't know that, I made the decision with Dr. Bob to let people know not to use that water until we could figure out what's happening underground. I'm very sad to report that we have gotten our initial lab reports back, and they did come back contaminated. However, those samples were just the first 15 that we collected. They were focused solely on Robin Drive. That we started at the point of source, and we are radiating out as we continue to collect samples. To date, we've collected over 75 samples and will continue to do so throughout the week. Additional sample teams have been assembled, and we expect to actually double the sample rate for Thursday and for Friday. And we should have more information every day. Samples are going to be delivered for analysis, and we should have a little bit more information tonight. We'll have a little bit more information tomorrow. We're slowly building a picture. We're trying to get an idea of whether just the area was impacted or the aquifer in general was impacted. So that is what we're going to be focusing on right now, is trying to get that information so we can understand how much needs to be done. And Yeah, so that's where we're at on the water sampling. Actually, I'll take that question because it's probably important. Okay, perfect. Good. Yes. So right now, we are focusing in the area of operation. The area of operation is Robin Lane and Pamela between Pond and Rumsey. Thank you. I keep forgetting Rumsey. That is the area of operation. That's where we're focused at the moment. However, today's sample collection, we stretched outside west to Gardner. So west, yeah, west of Gardner, east up to Old Highway 53, and then south of Rumsey. So we are slowly radiating away from the source point in order to grow that knowledge of how much of this area is impacted. There is some encouraging news in the data, but not yet anything confirmed. We're waiting for a second confirmation so we can see if those levels are staying the same or if they're getting lower. If they're getting lower, then that's indicative that maybe the contaminant is done and it's no longer has a source. But we won't know that until we look at the data and let the samples give us the information we need. We don't want to conjecture. And at this time, I am not lifting the do not use notice because again, I don't believe it's safe yet. So that's why we have done what we've done. I'll come to these in just a second. All right. Actually, you know what? Never mind. Dr. Bob, I'm going to come back to these questions. You want to talk for a few seconds? Okay. Your well to be tested. Your well will be tested. We just right now focusing on yeah, we expect to be looking at go ahead, Dr. Bob. We'll come back to these questions. Thank you.
So I'm speaking as your Lake County Health Officer, Public Health Officer, and also as a dad of triplets. So I'm glad that the families have come here with their children because I share your concern about this incident. And I want to just say that Lake County Health Services is issuing the following health recommendations for residents who have been impacted by the 2026 Robin Lane sewer spill in Clear Lake. Residents who live in the area south of Pond Road, north of Rumsey Road, east of Pamela Lane, and west of Robin Lane, and who rely on private drinking water wells are advised to take the following actions to protect their health and safety. Residents are advised to temporarily relocate until their private well is deemed safe for use by me acting as your public health officer. Affected residents may first contact your homeowner's insurance provider to inquire about coverage for temporary lodging under your policy. Residents may also contact Lake County Special Districts at 707-263-0119. 707-263-0119 for additional assistance and guidance. Residents in the impacted area that I just described who have children under the age of 5, who live with adults over the age of 60 or who are adults over the age of 60, individuals with open wounds, and individuals with severe respiratory conditions or compromised immune systems or an active illness are strongly encouraged to temporarily relocate until water safety has been confirmed. Residents who choose to remain in their homes are strongly advised to contact special districts to ensure access to an adequate supply of safe water. A minimum of 60 gallons of potable water per person per day is recommended to safely meet the needs for drinking, food preparation, cleaning, and laundry. All residents in this area should take additional precautions to thoroughly clean and disinfect any surfaces, materials, or household items that may have come in contact with private well water beginning on Sunday morning around 7 o'clock. Lake County Health Services continues to work closely with special districts and other partner agencies to monitor conditions, support the impacted residents, and ensure that public health protections remain in place. Additional updates will be provided as more information becomes available, and this will be done in a variety of different ways through the public media and by contact with the health department or special services. Thank you for coming.
We're gonna ask questions at the end. Let's keep going and then we'll go ahead and do that. So I know you guys received notice that this was happening tonight, and I really appreciate to see a full room, and obviously that's because you guys are really concerned. Our system upended your guys' lives, and I'm hating the situation that we're all dealing with, and I'm sure you're hating it even more than I am. That's part of my responsibility, is not to let these things happen. And unfortunately, it happens, and it happened under my watch, and I hate these situations. So my job is to try to do what I can so that you are as comfortable as possible, no matter how shitty it is. And I'm sorry, I apologize for the children. I know from experiences with all the fires we've had, what we all want and what we all typically look for. Most of us don't want to leave our homes, right? Obviously, there's a problem. The water table has an issue that we need to better understand. You're all accessing that water table. There's no water out there. There's not even any sewer out there, but yet the sewer is what is creating this problem. So every individual property is going to be kind of a unique scenario. If you choose to stay at home, if you have the ability to take water and we can deliver water to you, and that water can help you take a shower, help you cook, help you drink water, we want to provide potable water, then let's have a conversation and let's figure out how we can do that for you so that you can be as comfortable as we can make it now. If you don't have that ability, again, the advice is that we think you should relocate. I am going to place some money to the side that the county has provided me so that we can help you get into that relocation. I don't know how long that money's going to last. I might have to ask for more money, and I'm not sure that I'm going to have the support. But I know that I've been asking since day one that you guys need to be given what you deserve, because this is our creation. Nobody wanted it to explode, but this is our system. It's our responsibility, and we need to take it seriously. So each individual will have to make that choice. Can you stay home? Can you receive delivery of water? We want to help you with that. If you can't, please communicate with us so we can figure out how we can best help you so that under these circumstances, we can keep you safe. We don't know how long this is going to be. I sure hope it will not be long, but I'm going to be real with you. It might take some time. It's not going to be tomorrow. This is, I wish I could do an analogy to a fire, but we've been back in our homes 2 days after a fire, sometimes a day after a fire. I don't think this is the scenario that we have. I hope I'm wrong. But we're going to be doing a whole lot more testing. The state is here to do the testing. to help us do as much as we can to better understand just how far it's gone and just how much worse it might get, because it might still be seeping down the soil columns into the water table. So we want to keep track because we want to know when it's safe for you guys to enjoy your homes the way that you were enjoying it before Sunday morning. And so the options are meager, and I wish there was more options. But I expect to have a conversation, at least one of us have a conversation with all of you to figure out what you feel is the best choice for you, your family, so that we can make sure that we can provide the best outcomes for this really horrible situation that you guys have been thrown into. I wish I could wave a magic wand and change it, but we are trying our best to take the responsibility on our shoulders and provide what we can. Staff doesn't want this to happen. They didn't want these pipes to blow. They worked their butts off to try to shut it off. Unfortunately, it's very frustrating when everything seems to fail. It was just horrible the way it went down. Please talk to me. I have business cards. My cell phone is on the business cards. I'm probably going to run out of business cards, so please take a picture of my business card or write it in your phone. Again, we need to connect you to what is best for you, because we need to do what we need to do for you guys. I really appreciate seeing how many people are here. It saddens me how many people are impacted by what has happened, but we have to do right by what you guys are dealing with. So if you have any questions, I think now we're ready for questions. Okay. That aren't written down.
I'm going to address one question in particular because it seems to be repeated in every single page. And that has to do with the maintenance of the system in general. And the answer to that is there is a maintenance schedule, and that maintenance schedule can be made available to you. We will get this to the tech, so they will actually contact you and talk to you about the maintenance of the system. It is also will be made available publicly. At least I believe it will. Yeah, there's a lot of questions asking how often is the valve maintained? How often? We don't have those logs in front of us, but we will get that information. We hear what you're asking and we will get that information. Yes, ma'am. You want to take this one?
For the next question, raise your hand. We'll bring you a microphone so everybody can hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting about that. Take that back.
In regards to us being able to have transparency and see what the maintenance schedules are, is that going to be something we're going to see going forward? Or are we going to see backlog maintenance or lack of maintenance going back to 20 years ago when this happened on the exact same area, the exact same street?
Can I get your first name?
So what I will say is this. We don't have the information here today at this moment. Do we need to do better? Yes, 100%. And so transparency, putting out there what we're working on, what we've done for the year, giving you a report, maybe quarterly, letting you know that we're doing better is definitely something we need to do, because what you don't see, when you finally see it, it's the worst thing that you've ever seen. And so we tend to forget what exists under our roads, and it's actually really scary to think about what's under our roads and how old some of this infrastructure is. So yes, we need to do better. Did you want me?
Yeah, take it.
I'm not involved in this spill. However, back in June, there was a spill at my mobile home park. It was off of Cache Creek. And I didn't know, I was walking out of my trailer backwards to keep my dog in. I was getting ready to go somewhere. I had on canvas tennis shoes. I had kittens at the time, so I was kind of scratched up. And I stepped in a puddle of sewage, raw sewage that came up over my ankle. Approximately 2 weeks later, I became very sick. I didn't know what was wrong. I went to the ER. I got life flighted to Ukiah. to be put in intensive care for 2 days. I had an ESLB infection sepsis that I believe that was caused from the sewage. So take them seriously. It is dangerous. I was in the hospital for 13 days.
Can we get her a sheet and a pen so she can write her information down? And I'm gonna, Dr. Bob is here. I'm gonna have you meet with Dr. Bob so he can talk to you about that and maybe work through some of that. I'm sorry that happened. That sucks. That's terrible. Yes. I'm gonna come right to you next, okay? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna take this question from her and then I'm gonna come over to this fine young lady over here in the blue, and then I'll come over to you, ma'am. So we'll do it in order, but we will be there. We will come back to you, I promise. So you're next.
I kind of think mine relates to you. I would like to know what kind of backup parts, pertinent parts, as a business owner. I have them. Why didn't they? What backup parts, pertinent parts, you should have had shut-off valves. Why not? Why did you have to go to Concord or wherever it was to get this? I don't understand that. You should have had backup parts.
You want to talk a little bit on that one?
I don't disagree with you. The 16-inch valve is a specialty valve, but I don't disagree with you. Some of these parts are very costly. Understand, right? I completely understand, and I do agree with you. And that is a very valid question. There are going to be a lot of these questions that I am not able to answer directly right now, but I am taking every question very seriously. And if that is something that I would like you to write down and provide your contact information, and we will follow up with anything that we're not able to answer. Oh, absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. And then also, I do have some staff here that are, I'm sorry, I do have a superintendent here. So if is that okay, Bruno, that he takes the mic? Superintendent, he's able to answer some of the more technical questions.
Miss, my name's Alan. I'm the superintendent at Lakeport. So your valve question, this valve was under pressure. So it had to be put in live, which takes a special machine. So you can't just sever a line and put in a valve because that would make the system way worse. So it had to be a special machine to put in the valve live. We do have plenty of valves on site.
Thanks. See, he answered that a lot better than I did.
Was somebody in the back that was interrupted from their question? I'll get to the.
So my neighbor who discussed the E. coli issue that she had, I live in the same park. When the call was made to the sewer people, I didn't know because I live in a park and we don't pay the sewer directly. So then I got told we had to call special districts. They came out. The old adage that shit runs downhill, I had no idea it was true. The break was uphill on Highway 53 where the backup pump went out. So the only reason why they came to us, because we're on private property, was because this pump had gone out. Now, there's Clear Lake campgrounds, then there's our park, and then as you proceed along the bank of the creek, there are at least 2 other properties. They didn't go over to the 2 other properties because they didn't call. We called because we had raw sewage running directly into the creek. The only way that anybody knew that it ran into the creek other than special districts was because they put a sign on our property in front of the berry bushes. And then they notified whoever they notified by phone or however they notified them, telegraph, I don't know. And so we knew on our side of the berry bushes. It was never really anywhere else. Nobody who went down the creek knew. And quite frankly, nobody said anything about her moving off of her trailer space so that she would be safe, or certainly mentioned anything to anybody else in the park. I live 5 spaces down from her. So my concern is that nobody was notified in our area except Clear Lake Campgrounds. So this was a big deal, but our spill didn't seem to be a big deal except for anybody other than me who called special districts and my friend Cheryl.
Thank you very much. Sorry about the experience. I do want to change a little bit. If you have a question, we have paperwork for you to fill out. Please turn it in. I don't mean to ignore those that want to talk about something other than the specific spill that we've invited you to give you some information. I want to make sure that we hear from you about what's happening today. I'm happy to hear about what happened yesterday from others on the side, but I want to make sure that we don't forget that we're dealing with a specific incident, and this is why we're here, is to discuss it. If you want to put your questions on paper, then Craig is going to go through and make sure that the questions are relevant to today's topic, and then we'll go ahead and provide you the answers. We will try our best to get through all of the questions. That's why we've invited you to come here.
All right, I've got Cheryl's questions in front of me. You want to answer that one?
My name is Albert Coates. I'm the Capacity Management and Operations Maintenance Coordinator for Special Districts. A lot of you have probably seen me. I've been delivering water. Every spill comes through me, and we follow all state procedures. I'm sorry that we don't notify every single resident. We try to. We try to get under every home. Our staff does the best we can. We put on Tyvek suits. We go out of our way to try to do it. If we missed you, it was not intentional. We try to follow all the procedures, and you know, I apologize to both of you and anybody that's been impacted, especially this one, but all of the spills. They come across my desk and I take them very seriously. I was born here. I care about what's going on in this community. And if we missed you, I totally apologize. And we're going to keep trying to get better every day. Thank you, Craig.
Okay, do you want, question from Cheryl? Was this the same main that failed 20 years ago? If so, had it ever been checked?
So this is the 16-inch force main. And I don't know if 20 years is the mark. I do know that there was a repair made to it some time ago. 20-ish years could be correct. I don't have the exact date. As far as checking, force mains are under pressure. There are no ways to check. Unfortunately, they are under pressure. There are no access points to be able to check. I do believe when, I not do believe, that's the wrong. We did camera this line when we were right before we were making the repair to replace the section. We did camera as far as we could go. We did not see any abnormalities or abnormalities up to 300 as far as our camera could go without it being underwater. So I don't know if that necessarily answers the question, but that's.
So an assessment of that line was done before you cleaned up and actually sealed that pipe?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and it looked, what was the status of that assessment? It looked good?
As far as oh.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
So again, Albert is going to come up and answer that. He is the one who runs that camera.
Could you please?
Okay, I did camera that line as far as I could till I was underwater. The reason why it's underwater is because we had to shut off the pump. I could go, you know, once I get underwater, it's like anything else. It's not just water, that's sewer. There's paper in there. I can't see anything past that. I made it about 400 feet down Robin, and that's all I could see. And I didn't see anything out of the abnormal, you know, it's a spesso concrete pipe. There's no offsets or anything. But because I only made it 400 feet and this is a force main, there's no manholes on force mains. This is all pressurized. For us to dewater it, we would have had to probably suck out another 1 million gallons at the pump station at Safeway and wait another 6 hours till we repaired it. So we were just trying to get in there and see if we saw anything that was real close that may have been severed, but I did not see anything that was out of the normal.
Question, how often will you be testing our wells? How long will you be testing? This is actually a bigger question than just that, but that's good. It's an outstanding question. Thank you for asking it. Yes, we will be testing your wells. We will test any well of anybody who wants their well tested. We will not be going onto your property and testing your well unless you provide consent for us to do so. What that means is that we will not trespass onto your property. We will not go and sample your well unless you want that done. If you want to consent and allow us to go do that sample, please contact Lake County Special Districts or Lake County Environmental Health, and we will put you on our list and get a sampler out there. We are doing our very best to accommodate people's times. We know that your time is important to you. You're busy. You have kids to take to school. You have jobs to go to. We will do our best to be there when you are there, if that's what you want. If you want to make it so that we can just access your hose bib, we'll do it from that, with or without you there, if you provide consent for that. How long will we be monitoring your wells? I am currently putting together a long-term plan and by long-term, I mean 1 month or longer, that we will be continuously monitoring this area to better understand the nature of the contaminant and how long that contaminant is present. We will not just be taking one sample and walking away. This is something that we'll be looking at for some time.
How long to get the lab?
Lab results have a 24-hour lag time. So samples that we took on Monday, we received the results for those on Tuesday evening, and then each day following. Okay, outstanding question. Yes, we will be receiving lab results for Pamela this evening. That was where we are expecting. I have not received them yet. You are not being charged for any of this. This is covered under the emergency declaration as part of why we declared it, so that we can open up funds for this process.
You can test same well multiple times, not the same day.
Yeah. In fact, I would expect to test several wells multiple times. Once I have the initial data of all the wells, we will then actually look at them in a more strategic manner, and we will be selecting wells based on their proximity to the original release, and we will be continuously monitoring on those. We will be using wells that are specifically designed for monitoring as much as possible, but we may be reaching out to local residents to see if they're willing to keep their well available to us for the long-term monitoring of this well. Additionally, a hit on a well right now, if we get a hot on somebody's well, and when I say hot, I'm looking for total coliform and E. coli. Those are our indicators. If we get a hot today, that doesn't mean that you'll be hot tomorrow. We are going to be looking at the series of wells. We will be doing a sanitation of the well itself, and then we will retake the sample afterwards in order to take one more variable away, which is the well itself being contaminated. We want to see the water in the aquifer independent of the well. So we have a little bit of work to do, but it takes time to get to that stage. So we will be testing, some wells will be tested a dozen times. Some wells will only be tested twice. Is that everybody okay with that? Cool. All right. 1 second, let me get a mic over to you. I got to pick the next question. Okay. Yes, we have already received the test for the samples that we collected on Monday. They have not yet been disseminated out to the property owners. Okay, so because the question, I'm gonna come back to the question. What he was asking is, how long is these turnarounds and how will people be contacted and notified of their test results and why haven't they been? Is that a good summarization? Okay. 24-hour lag time, right? You get the results the next day, usually in the evening. That's when we receive them from the lab that we are using. And no, homeowners have not yet been given their lab results, not because we're hiding them or holding on to them, but because I myself haven't actually called the homeowners to do so. And that will be happening after I'm done with the meeting. I'll be calling people for the Monday's results. We will get caught back up. We are just now getting into the groove of how to do this process. We don't have this on tap. We've got to learn too. And my team is awesome. They're doing a great job. They're working their butts off, but it takes us time to get these things processed. I'm sorry for the delay, but we will get it done. Okay. Yeah.
We gotta go with what's written or else we're gonna go with questions that are written. Please write your question and we will get to the question, or else you're just getting in front of everyone else. Everybody wants to know the answer to their question as well, and we're not denying your question.
Question, will you tell us our own well results? Yes, we will get that information out. It will get out. Sorry, I'm trying to work through some of these questions and not repeat. The good news is you all want to know a lot of the same information, so that's good. Okay, what happens once our wells are deemed contaminated? What is the process? If treatment is needed, who pays for the treatment? Are we supposed to pay? Okay, excellent question. There is a process for decontaminating a well. Usually it involves an injection of sodium hypochlorite, bleach, to cleanse the well itself and then shock the immediate aquifer area around your well. Remember that your aquifer is very much like a sponge. There's a lot of porous material down there through which the water moves. We're going to shock that immediate area and clean that. And then over time, as new water replaces the stuff that's being pulled up, we can then take another sample and see if that water is also contaminated. That gives us a better understanding of whether the well and the materials of the well were contaminated, or if the water itself that's being drawn by the well is contaminated. There is a process that we narrow this stuff down. Right now, there is no intention to charge homeowners for any of this work. This is all part of the emergency declaration, opening funding for this type of, research to find out what the extent of this is. It's a developing situation. Today's information is not great. We don't have a lot of information, but every day we're trying to grow that knowledge base so that we can make better decisions and get information to you folks so that you can start making decisions for your family that are, at least with the best information you can get. So that's the objective here. You have a question you can go with, so I can start reading the rest of these.
I think we've answered most of these, some of these.
Bruno, you got one we can answer?
Sure. This one has to do with the showers.
Showers.
Please make sure to say the number again.
Yes, yes. Okay, that is a good question. It says the Red Cross showers don't account for elderly or disabled. We are reaching out to other vendors to see if they can provide that for us. So that is something that we are actively working on to get that delivered to us. We're still trying to reach out to a company to be able to do that for us. I think that was on this one. While they're getting the next question ready, I do want to let you know, just to remind you guys to call us 707-263-0119 if you need your tanks filled, if you need water delivered to you, if you need water for your animals. If you have questions about the showers or the potable water, or any additional resources that may be coming available to you that we will be able to provide you at our site, please call our office and they will get your information and they will route it to the right person and we will get somebody there to bring that to you. We have the animal controls water buffalo at our site, so we're able to roll that out when needed. We have some containers for your animals, temporary troughs and whatnot, dogs, cats, horses, goats, if whatever you need, just give us a call and we'll do our best to assist you with that, providing containers for your animals. Also, I want to just do a quick thank you to the local water companies. They also have, the Highlands Water Company has a potable water station. I believe that's located on Lakeshore. In case, and that is another option. I just wanted to let that be known.
I'll handle these three and do my best for it. This is basically about communication, about the spill. Why did it take so long? Is there a public notification? We have unfortunately created a wonderful system when there's a fire. This was not necessarily following the exact same footprint that we follow when we have a fire. That was wrong. And we need to fix that. And that's why you guys felt very much like you didn't know what was going on. People weren't standing around doing nothing. They were trying to stop the flow as much as possible and control it, but overwhelmed all at the same time. We did not reach out to you. There was a Nixle that came out probably about, I forget if it was in the early afternoon or late afternoon on Sunday, but it was too late. I'm not going to disagree with you. We have to do better in the way that we communicate this. This is not something that we anticipated. We've dealt with spills. Typically, those are not enormous in the way that this one has been. And at this point, I just will say that we failed to do what we should have done, and we need to absolutely do better in the way we communicate. So for those of you who weren't aware or did not get a Nixle or did not see the social media post, which were very late, in my opinion, in comparison to what we're used to. I mean, we don't have a watch duty for sewer leaks. And we have come to be very well equipped when it comes to fires. And this is not what was, we were not prepared for this, period. In the way to communicate to you guys in the best of ways. I don't know. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm just gonna be blunt and honest. I wish we could go back in time and change things, but that doesn't mean that people were not working their butts off to try and help your community and help your property. We just to drop some things. So those, is there a public notification alert? Obviously, we're going to be talking about a whole lot of things when we have an after action report, because unfortunately and fortunately, learning does occur. I'm sorry that we learned because of your misery. And I'll leave it there for this one.
We did go door to door. I myself went door to door with, along with another staff member, actually a few other staff members. I do have a lot of familiar faces with you in here, and I did talk to you and we did deliver water. Some houses people didn't answer, and I'm not making any excuses. I personal experience, I did go to a lot of the houses myself. Other than, I mean, that's just saying, door to door, be trekking around. But of course, I understand that, some people weren't home, some people were working, some people, weren't able to answer. And so I definitely agree that we do need some other type of a notification system.
So I have a comment here from Virginia Torres. Are you still here, Virginia? So you're asking me if your property is impacted. It's within the box of Pond, Tecumseh, Old Fifth, or Pamela and Robin. And so, yes, at this moment in time, let's just be safe and assume that your water table has been impacted, and let's just make sure that we stay safe. Use bottled water, ask us how we can get you water, or if you need us to get you in a different location to be relocated, please talk to us and let us know. And if we can, I want to make sure and be respectful of the people that did write it on there. I'm happy to have a conversation with you afterwards, or if you want to write another question to continue from there. We just heard that, yes, we will be providing well results from Craig, so we will make sure and be doing those things. And they'd like to see sand and gravel poured over the spill area. The spill areas has been, I want to say not mostly, almost entirely taken care of as far as what is there. I know that there are, some people told us to stop vacuuming because those are naturally occurring ponds. Am I correct on that? And so there are some areas that seem to be refilling, whether that's being refilled with effluent or whether it's being refilled with the natural flow of water. I'll let Lori respond.
We just started our initial contamination process. So that was getting the lime on the ground to most of the dirt affected areas on Robin Lane and in the driveways. We're not done. Like I said, we do still have more decontamination to do. We're not done. I don't want you to think that we just put lime on the ground, lime on the ground, and we're just gonna walk away. We still have some work to do. So I don't want you to think that that's it. Again, we are going to be doing the hardscaping, your driveways, if you have walkway paths, anything that could have potentially been walked on outside. We do have, we're going to continue disinfecting. Yeah.
In the areas where we still have water coming up, some of the residents have my direct cell number. I will be giving them my cell number out to anybody. We're having pumpers out there, you know. Instead of taking the stance that it's not an issue, we're going to take it is an issue. We're going to keep pumping it until we kind of know otherwise. I think that's safe. But if, you know, some of you do have my cell number, if you need my cell number, I'm also the one delivering water. I'm, you know, kind of helping coordinate a lot of the stuff best I can with Lori's help, but definitely I can hand that to you and give it out. It'll be up here as well.
Take the road.
Hi, I'm Alan. I'm the city manager here. There's a couple of questions about resurfacing the roads, Robin and Pamela. Most of those, both of those roads are actually private streets. They're not public streets that are maintained by the city. There is a section on Pamela, like the kind of the bridge, and just past that has been maintained by the city and is considered a public street. So the city isn't going to be doing work on those private streets. It's considered a gift of public funds. I'll just step out though and say that I think you should expect the roads to be improved and graded back to the condition that they were previously, and that should be the obligation of Lake County Special Districts to make sure that that happens. And we haven't talked about that at this point. The focus has been more supporting them with stopping the spill and making sure that things are getting cleaned up. But I know that's a significant issue. And again, I think that's a request that needs to go to special districts. We'll certainly be making sure that we think, or that they know that we think that that should be done as well.
Thank you. Just a clarification, I think I misspoke earlier. The showers that are out there are not the American Red Cross showers. They are a private company that was hired to bring those showers in. Apologies for misspeaking on that one. Question that is come up on almost every one of these pages. The efficacy of public water. So the Golden State Highlands water companies. The public water systems are not impacted by this release. Neither have any water wells in the area that they draw water from to the public water system. They do, however, draw water out of Clear Lake. Some of this sewage did in fact make it to Clear Lake, and they were notified of this. Their system is capable of addressing and handling the insurge of bacteria and sewage if that happens. It is, they are tested routinely, often, and those tests have come back negative. So the public water system has not been impacted by this. This is solely impacting the private wells of the people in the area. So that's that one there.
So I have a question here about what happens once our wells are deemed contaminated, which we've kind of discussed that from the test that we have. We have shown that there is some issues in the wells. What is the process? If treatment is needed, who pays for that? Are we supposed to pay? I probably will get myself in trouble for the response, but this is our responsibility. We did this to you. So you should not be paying to recover your ability to live in your homes. We will work the best that we can to ensure that you can have safe drinking water. I do want to ask Craig, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but is there a potential that it never recovers? Is that possible, or does it just take time for it to go away?
Wow. That's what, wow. Yes, that's possible. I think I just got a lot of people's attention. Yeah, that is entirely possible that this aquifer does not recover in any safe manner. I do not expect that to be the case. It would take some pretty extraordinary circumstances for that to happen. I have every expectation that even if this contamination continues for a long period, that it will recover over time. I cannot say what that time would be, but I can tell you that as water infuses into the system and pushes out old water, it naturally replenishes itself. But there are circumstances where this could be a permanent or long-term problem. Again, that is a highly unlikely event. At this stage, we don't have enough information to be able to even speculate to that. But it's something that and my team and everybody else that sits in on these meetings and works on this problem want to make sure it does not happen. We wouldn't want contaminated water. You don't want contaminated water. Pretty much the only thing I think everybody in this room agrees on. This is something that we're working very hard to prevent.
So again, I want to say something that I haven't checked with the team, but I think what we need to do is, I really like the one pagers that we see when we have a fire that kind of tells you what the percentage is of the fire, not recovery, containment. Thank you. I think we just need to be very honest with the results that we're receiving, and are we seeing something going in the positive or the negative? Because you should not be left in the dark. We are testing your wells, not our wells, and we should be letting you know what it is, and we should be honest with the community about how we are making progress towards bringing you home. And so I will talk with the team, because that is what I want to see us do. I think it's the right thing to do. That way you don't have any questions. You're not wondering. You're going to see it, whether it's going to be good news or bad news. I think that the news is more important to know than it is to be left in the dark and not know. And so we'll work on make sure that we do that. So we have a lot of repeat questions. So why have the driveways not been sprayed?
So our goal today was to get up any residual ponding. Before we don't want to put the disinfectant, the lime down until we can get anything up that was still puddled. And then we did start driveways on the beginning of Robin towards Pond. They did work that area.
We're using Decon 30, which has been approved. I actually sprayed the first driveway today at where it actually started, the origination point. We are going to start that tomorrow. That's for hardscapes, and with you guys, a lot of the driveways aren't concrete, so we're probably going to do lime and the spray. But there's going to be crews out there coordinating that tomorrow. We're going to go door to door and work our way down from Robin all the way around to Pamela. So, and like I said, I'm going to leave my card if you guys have any questions. My cell number's on here. I'm available. I've been available 24/7 for the last 3 days. So.
Also, there's been a lot of truck action going back and forth, back and forth. So, you know, we kind of, as the days go by, we want to make sure the less traffic, you know, then we can we can decamp, sorry, we can start spreading the lime down again and getting the driveways, picking up the wattles. Tomorrow is going to be a walk from address to address and assess the situation to see what needs to happen as far as driveway, hardscapes, wattles, cleanup. You know, is your driveway a mess from the trucks coming in and out? We will be going, there will be a group of us going house to house and just kind of assessing the situation tomorrow. So you will see us again, you know, coming around your driveway and in your area.
So I'm gonna do this one next. These are questions that I can't answer, but I'm gonna ask them out loud just so you know that they're here. Will there be any excavation done to eradicate contaminated soil? I'm gonna tell you right now, we don't know. That's something that we will continue to work on and figure out. I know sometimes we've seen that happen after fires because of the type of contamination, but we are not currently aware of the exact levels. And if those levels will disappear, Sunshine, Craig will tell you, is our best friend at this moment in time to eradicate the problem on the surface. But we're gonna have to figure out what's going on in the soils and we will let you know. Will there be funding for UV systems for to help well systems, also filters for wells to be provided? At this moment in time, we are probably going to wait till the water table becomes clean in order for you to access your wells, and we would love to help you get potable water in some other type of way. So please, again, reach out so that we can try to figure out how to make that happen for you. And then Michelle, is it Espanola? Espanola, I'm going to give you my business card. I'm not exactly sure how it is that you can help, but I appreciate your offer. And just give me a call. My number's on there. Yeah.
One of the questions that I've got a couple of them repeated, what direction does the aquifer flow? That is an outstanding question. And if anybody has that answer, please come tell me. It generally is flowing south. As with all aquifers, they generally flow from the direction of the hills down to the lowest point. So it's generally moving from a northeast to southwest flow, and then turning south towards Clear Lake itself. That's the flow. Everything that we only have one sample right now that I have results for, that it's to the north and to the east of Robin Lane, and that one came back with non-detect. So I'm very encouraged by that the flow of the water is in fact moving south as opposed to going north. So we may be able to say that some folks may be safer in the future, but again, I only have literally one well right now with any data, so I will not speculate that it's safe at this time. But that's what I'm looking for, is those types of trends. So
I have a question about, will we tell neighbors if a well adjacent to them is found to be hot? Well, right now, the hot zone specifically, we've identified for you where we believe it's currently unsafe to drink. And I know I'm probably full of bad news for you guys, but if we test and it's outside of the hot zone, we are going to expand that footprint to say it is unsafe to drink water in those areas. And we have to. We want to keep you guys safe and let you know what's happening. So it is possible. We hope that that's not going to be the case, but we're testing outside of the area to find those things out. And if we find them out, we're not going to not tell anybody. We're going to expand that footprint and let you know that it is impacted. So as soon as we find out, we will be alerting you. Make sure you are looking at our social media. Make sure that you are having, you have Nixle, and just call up special districts and ask those questions if there's other ways that you, if you're not able to find out through those means. He already has a question.
Okay, so the question I'm responding to is dust on Rumsey from trucks, is it dangerous? Hundreds of years ago, I was assigned by the Centers for Disease Control to be the advisor for the Federal Emergency Management Agency during the Mount St. Helens eruptions. I don't know if anyone was present during that time, but there were times when you could not see more than a couple of 100 meters in front of you. There was lots of dust in the air and people were wondering whether or not the dust from the explosive eruption was hazardous. This is not a very dissimilar question. The issue is that whenever there's an aerosolization of dust, especially if it's of respirable size, that dust can get down into the lungs and the parts of your lungs where air is exchanged with your blood. And if you already have a chronic lung condition, asthma, for example, or obstructive lung disease from a history of long time smoking or whatever, you're going to be vulnerable and more vulnerable than the average person. So the simple answer basically to the question is that when conditions are dry and dusty, and if you are walking or running or exercising along the area that we mentioned, the area impacted by the spill, then dust could get aerosolized there and certainly could impact your health if the particles of the dust are small enough to enter your lungs. So my suggestion, my advice is that avoid walking, running, exercising in that area when it's dry and dusty. If you are going to have to be in that area during that kind of circumstance, then get yourself one of those N95 masks. I think everybody knows how to find those these days. So I hope that answer is helpful.
So I did get somebody from the audience who just wanted to add to the previous question. We'll add this to our logistical actions. If we expand the footprint, there's some people who don't have social media. There's some people that may not receive Nixle. We will do everything we can, knock on doors, whatever, because it's probably not going to grow exponentially. It's probably going to grow slowly as we find out. We will make sure to connect with everybody and make sure that you have access to the information. We don't want to leave anybody behind thinking that they were safe before and that things have changed and they don't know. I believe.
One of the questions will a professional company be hired to mitigate the spill versus county workers spreading Lyme by hand? So typically when we have spills, it is our staff that is out there doing the disinfection process. We will know more tomorrow. Again, like I said earlier, we will be going down the street address by address and kind of assessing the situation. Assessing the situation. So I should have more information as far as anything other than something that we can do. I do want to remind you that we are professionally trained. We do have certifications. I have wastewater treatment plant operators, and we have EMTs, and we have even our utility workers. These are certified. They have certifications and certificates, and they do, schooling and state testing, and they are professionals. So.
So I have here, we still haven't addressed trash service. I believe that at least last time I went by, there was still the road closure signs, but the Lyme has been spread. That will be removed soon enough. I don't have a timeline for that. I don't know if you have a timeline for that. Okay. And we'll call CNS Waste Solutions. We'll figure that out. But once the roads are open, then that's just back to normal. But we will have that conversation. We'll put out some information as soon as we can regarding that. The other part on how to wash clothing, we're gonna have to have a conversation. If you're in your house and you're receiving enough water because you're staying at home and you have the ability to get water from us, hopefully then that will provide the ability to function with a washer and a dryer. If you're not, then I think we just need to figure out in our team and see what's the best options that we have. I'm just going to be real. We have not had that conversation at this point in time. And for those who, how to function if folks cannot leave, like I said, every property, every person is going to be unique in what the needs are. We're definitely not dealing with this like we would a fire where we just basically open up a shelter and say, you can go over here. We feel a little bit more of a sense of responsibility in this situation. And so again, grab my card, call up special districts. Let's see how we can best provide you the comfort that you need. Everyone's going to be unique in what their needs are.
We are actually looking into, another trailer that would have, they use them in the fires where they do have laundry service. So you would bring your things, it's a stacked laundry washer dryer. So we are looking into that. So that is something that we are, researching with local companies.
I think that depletes all of the questions that we have, I want to make a brief, quick announcement. Not me.
Si alguien tiene preguntas, por favor, vaya a la señora Judy que está ahí atrás en la chaqueta verde para que ella le traduzca su mensaje.
We just want to make sure that everybody who lives in the area has the ability to get the help they need. So please reach out if you only speak Spanish or if your neighbors only speak Spanish and they weren't here, please let them know so that we can make sure to, again, give everybody the help.
And if you call our office, we do have translators. So if you do need any help or, you need assistance, we do have translators available at our office. So 263-0119.
I see no further questions in front. I do want to say, does anybody have a question? All right, I'm going to take 3 more questions. I saw 1, 2, and 3 with the blue bonnet. Sorry that I didn't call it a beanie. Hold on. I'm going to call it, I'm going to go right here and then I'm going to go in that direction.
Yeah, when you guys first put this out, you guys mentioned Old Highway 53. It's not a big highway, but it starts at the bus barns and it ends over here at the plant place. It's a pretty big street. What area are you concerned with of all of that whole Highway 53? It was a simple question that I tried to address earlier because there's folks between Pond Road and Old Highway 53, such as Rose Lane and some others that don't have social media, and I've been trying to help them. I hope they're on the meeting today right now, but I don't know that for a fact, but that's my question.
Thank you.
So yes, initially we put Old Highway 53 as the eastern border to this incident. At this time, right now, we don't have any data on how far out we are. We are expecting to test properties specifically at the corner of Pond and Old 53. We will be doing a well there tomorrow and some of the wells along Old 53. So we'll have some information soon as to whether or not that is safe or if that's part of this incident or not. Generally, that's the goal. Everything's going to get at least 2 tests. And then we will be strategically picking certain wells based on their location and availability to us to do long-term monitoring with.
So I have a unique situation. Me and my husband, we have a home childcare, and that's our only income. We live on Robin Lane, and we're closed. And we have no timeline. We can't pay our bills. We can't provide care for our families that we've had since they were infants. We don't know what to do. We don't have any answers. I don't have any answers for any of my parents. And we're probably gonna lose everything. So, what kind of answers can we get? You know, I've had somebody from the city call and they said that we can, you know, provide care at city or somewhere at City Hall. We can't do that. We're licensed at our home. And that's what our parents, you know, love about us is that we have a home-based daycare and that we're a second home. That's what we get all the time, that we're a second home to them. And we're not a center. It's just me and my husband and my family. I homeschool my older children. I'm with my 2-year-old. She does preschool every day. I provide preschool for my daycare kids. They're all my family, and we're at a loss. And
Thank you. I know that you have been brought up in discussions already. As you said, you had talked to somebody from the city. Let's continue that conversation. We do not want you to have to shut down, and we do not want you to have to figure out how you're going to continue doing this. Horrible. I'm sorry. But let's talk.
I've had quite a few people reach out to me. I'm a real estate broker here in the area, and they wanted to know, is there any plans for environmental impact studies on the Cache Creek and the lake to see what the long-term effects are?
For this particular spill, the long-term impacts to the lake are expected to be negligible at this time. There was a release to the lake, but in terms of volume, it was actually fairly small compared to some spills from previous years. But we do actually have Lake County Water Resources. They have been tasked with following up with State Fish and Wildlife and state CDFW, who else? Basically, every state agency that talks about water, they will be working with them to actually look at that impact more closely.
If there are any further questions, we're going to go ahead and just shut down the formal meeting itself. If we're going to all stick around for some time, if you want to have a private conversation with us, we're happy to answer, listen to you, provide whatever it is that we can. Please make sure you have the number. Let's make sure we say the number again.
Our office number is 707-263-0119. If it's for potable water, water for your animals, water for you, the shower, any resources that we may be able to assist you with, please give us a call. Even if you don't know if it's going to be us helping you, we'll try to find you the answer.
So with that, I empathize with all of you that you are dealing with a situation you did not ask for on Sunday morning, and you're still dealing with that situation. Please contact me, contact us, see what we can do to help you. And let's hope it ends a lot sooner than it does. Thank you.